Hi, I'm Thorn Bishop, and welcome to Top Secret Inc. Today, we'll be walking through Ice Cream Man Vol.1 Rainbow Sprinkles, issue number 4 by Image Comics. So get comfortable, because it's going to be one hell of a ride. All right, this issue is an interesting one. We're back in the Midwest, suburban America. You got a young black American named Joel. He looks like a fine, upstanding gentleman. Pregnant wife is helping him put on a suit and tie. They've got a beautiful house with a nice car. The inside is furnished very nicely. Looks like these two are doing pretty damn well for themselves. Joel is confiding into his wife that he's very nervous. Apparently, a best friend of his has recently passed away. Joel's been asked by the family to deliver a eulogy at the funeral. He's never done this before and he's kind of worried about it. To be fairly honest, he hasn't seen Chris in a couple of years. His wife lets him know that, as we get older, it becomes more difficult to spend time with their friends and life gets, a hold of us. Things get busy with family, careers, and of course, all that other bullshit that life throws at us. Joel mentions to his wife that it's strange because he never even knew that Chris was sick. Dying in your 30s is a tragedy, but you'd think you would have at least known your best friend had something going on. Joel mentions that he wishes she could come along to the funeral to soothe his nerves. She laughs at him and reminds him that it's too late in her pregnancy and she could barely squeeze through the door. Grabbing a Polaroid camera, she takes a picture of her handsome husband before he leaves for the cemetery. The Polaroid camera is quite interesting. We can't really tell what time period we're in here. Polaroids were really popular in the 70s and the 80s, but they've somewhat made a little comeback in the last few years, purely based on nostalgia. I'm going to guess that this story is in the present day only because the car on the driveway looks fairly modern. Joel mentions to his wife that Chris's dad will be there today. Apparently, Joel hasn't seen Chris's dad in about 25 years. I'm taking a wild guess that will be back in elementary school. I'm wondering what happened here, like a separation, divorce, maybe some jail time. At the ceremony, Joel gives an outstanding speech. A lot of references to music and how Chris was somehow some savant musical genius. During the middle of the speech, Joel looks up and sees Chris's dad, about 20 yards away leaning against a tree in street clothes, sparking a cigarette. He's wearing these street clothes, like denim jeans and an untucked shirt to a funeral, kind of strange. He's not even with anyone else during the ceremony. I wonder what shit went down in that house when Joel was a kid. At the end of the ceremony, we see an old family friend of Chris praising Joel for his heartfelt words. She also mentions she knew that he would do a great job. Even as a child, he was always great at articulating his thoughts. She hops into her car and leaves the cemetery. Immediately after she's out of sight, Chris's father comes up to Joel and wraps his arms around him. Joel is shocked and doesn't know what to make of it. He hasn't seen this guy for a quarter of a century. They both give each other their condolences, and Mr. Carson, Chris's dad, thanks him again for following through. When his mom passed away a few years back, he didn't know who would be able to respectfully give the eulogy. He also says, "We know it couldn't have been myself, considering everything we've all been through all these years." Mr. Carson asked Joel to go to the pub for a few rounds. He's in town by himself, and really it's the least that Joel can kind of do for him, for his dead friend's dad. So they head to the local dive bar and start pumping back shots at Johnny Walker. Joel opens up his mouth and tells Mr. Carson that his wife Sheila is pregnant. Funny enough, Carson remembers Sheila. She was a childhood friend of Chris's. He gives Joel, the big congratulations and finds out that they've been together for about 10 years. They're sitting there drinking for a while when Joel's composure changes. He asks Mr. Carson, why he left so many years ago. Mr. Carson is kind of shocked by the question. He didn't see that coming. Carson asks him, why do you want to know? Joel lowers his head to the ground and quietly says, "Hey, I'm thinking about leaving my family." Okay, let's talk about this for a second. I'm still guessing Joel's in his 30s, about the time you start a family. Apparently his wife seems nice and supportive, but we really can't tell shit about it. She was only in the first few pages of this story anyway, so what's the deal? Why would he want to go out to the store and buy milk and never come back? The story is telling us that Joel believes his family and responsibility are stopping him from making choices that he wants to make in life. They're both bantering back and forth about it, and we find out that Mr. Carson jumped ship when Chris was about 7 years old. You can see the regret on his face at the decision he made. Joel is trying to justify the choice he made was actually correct. Then Mr. Carson drops the bomb on Joel and tells him why he left and what exactly happened to him. So basically, he went into the forest and joined a commune of hippies, of artists, musicians, and religious prophets. They basically didn't work and just did a lot of drugs and had sex with each other on a daily basis. Sounds like a great time. No responsibilities, no cares in the world, just you and nature. Joel is absolutely stunned by this. His best friend's dad got groomed for a hippie sex cult. So Joel starts to feel a little bit nauseous, from all that booze, and then runs out of the bar and barfs in a dumpster. Really classy guy here. Anyway, Mr. Carson runs out after him to find out if he's okay. Joel looks at him in shock and says, "You left your family for a commune?" And Mr. Carson tells him, "I left them for free love. I came home from work and all I would hear was Chris screaming as a baby. It was like listening to nails scratching on a chalkboard. And then as he started to get older, then there was the music. We put him in music lessons in kindergarten, and by the time he was 6, he had more talent than I had in my whole life. It was like being a father meant my life had to come to a complete stop because of him. It felt like my life was being erased from existence. So I left. One day I opened the door to go out to work and I just never made it back." Mr. Carson also tells Joel, "You're right. It was the right time, but it was the wrong choice for the wrong reasons. It's a trap out there. It looks good from the outside until you're there and there's no future for you. Every time there's an opportunity and you reach for that door, you find out it's locked. It's always locked. Look, Joel, you just gave the speech at my son's funeral. Do you think I could have done that? I can't even show my face. He didn't even want me to see him when he was alive. I'm going to tell you this. Don't bail on your wife and kid." They both hop into Mr. Carson's car so that, they can drop Joel off at home because he's in no condition to drive. Mr. Carson tells Joel that he didn't even know who his son was, what kind of person he turned out to be. He didn't even know he was sick. Maybe he could have done something. He didn't even get a chance to hug him, to tell him everything was going to be okay. In tears, Mr. Carson apologizes to Joel for having a breakdown in the car. Joel has no idea what to make of it. He wants to go out to get the milk, but he's seeing the repercussions of what can possibly happen to him. Then Joel gets this revelation. He's thinking to himself that idea is batshit crazy. But hey, what the fuck? Why not? He looks over at Mr. Carson and asks him, "What if you could hug him just one more time?" So, here's where things get a bit fucked. The scene jumps to Chris. It looks like he's alive and having a flashback, or he's dead in hell. He's laying on the floor naked with bugs crawling over his body. Then he's naked, shackled to a wooden board surrounded by skeletons tickling him with palm leaves. Then the cap of his head is being surgically removed by dog surgeons. Then he's naked and shackled to a wall. Yes, this is hell. In the darkness, he's approached by a hideous beast. The beast looks like a liquid nightmare with green eyes and the faces of its previous victims attached to its spine. An ice cream cone appears in its hand, and he hears a voice in his mind. "Yes, Chris, you are in hell. You died, and now you're with me. I also like music, and well, I have a tune for you. I'm sure you'll enjoy it." Then we get a flashback of a young Mr. Carson at the front door of a house, about to leave the family. The scene repeats over and over and over again. Mr. Carson gives a reason each time, blaming the boy for abandoning his family. Each time we see the tears streaming down the child's eyes. The scene jumps back to Chris as an adult, still dead, but this time in the casket. And here we have Joel and Mr. Carson just staring down at him. So, apparently they decided in a drunken state to go back to the cemetery. The casket wasn't set to be buried yet until the morning, and they decided to pull the body out of the casket. Now we have Mr. Carson holding his dead son in his arms in shame, in tears for the years he abandoned his family. Joel is standing over him wondering if this is what he really wants in his life, or is he ready to man up and accept the responsibilities that life throws at him. The scene then jumps to a little suburban town in the Midwest. There's an ice cream truck and there's a little girl getting a cone from our buddy Rick, the ice cream man. Rick is sweet-talking the child to make sure she doesn't drop the double scoop cone, but really we can hear him plotting a future death for this child. A car pulls up a short distance away, and a man in a black suit, cowboy hat, and boots walks up to Rick. He looks up at him and says, "Really? You're still up to this shit, Rick?" We find out from Rick that his name is Caleb. Rick looks shaken up by this visit. Caleb tells him he knows what he's been doing and to the people in this town, and he doesn't like it, and it's gonna stop now. Caleb walks away from the ice cream truck, and we can see in the distance a frightened ice cream man. I hope you enjoyed the walkthrough today, but here's the thing. You need to get your hands on the actual book. Hit up your local comic shop or grab it from an online vendor. Support these comic book companies because they're the real people busting their asses writing these insane stories. Even though you're hearing about it from me, when you actually read it yourself, I guarantee you'll have a completely different perspective on the whole thing. Trust me, it hits different on paper.